Hey guys, Kev here, and I have the new Vosteed Leopard. This is the Gavko collaboration with Vosteed that just released. Unboxing with the TW Price Dawn's the left-handed version from the recent pre-order. And I've got the Timascus kit on there. It's looking pretty good. Got skiffs in her. Uh-oh, gotta adjust that. But let's check it out. Gavko Leopard. So if you guys don't know, Mike Gavko is the designer from Gavko Knives, makes a lot of custom knives. I've had a few in the past. You can check out my videos on those. Got a cool raccoon sticker. Don't know if my daughter has that one, so I'm gonna give that one to her. We've got the knife here. Pretty classic Gavko. It's slim, and just making sure there's nothing else under there. I really like their cases. They're always nice. But yeah, Gavkos are always slim this way, and have this shape of a hole, which is nice, like an oblong shaped hole. And we have decent size knife, but it's not huge. I thought it was gonna be quite a bit bigger. Here's that Dawn, so you can see it's about the same size as the Dawn. Here's the Stout V2 I like to use for comparison. Almost the same size as the Stout V2. Carrying also the Tall Boy. We're dropping these on the 20th, March 20th. These will release. Let's see. I think that's going to be a little bit bigger. Yeah, so I'm guessing this is going to be right around 3¼ inches on the blade, 3.3. But let's give it a flick. We got the top liner lock. You guys know I love that. This one is rocking it via a liner. So you have a liner on the inside right there. And then the lock bar is cut out of that. Sometimes they do it on the back spacer. Here's our collaboration with Vosteed. This is the Nip L, or the nipple. And we had them attach the... we had them attach it to the back spacer, sort of. If you look in there, you can see there's like a tab. And then there's the back spacer. It's not quite attached to the back spacer. I was thinking it was like the RS Chaos, but it's more of a tab liner, where this looks like a full liner. We also moved the button up a little bit to make it more comfortable. It looks like maybe they may have adjusted that. Like this might be a little higher than it was on previous models. I don't know if I do have one here to compare. Let's just flick this real quick before we go crazy. Nice ergonomics. Fires out. That felt like a nice spot for the hole. You can kind of decide if you want to flick down here or if you want to flick up at the top. And that's going to dictate how strong your detent's going to feel. The detent is dialed in perfectly, I think. So I can flick it down there and it's a little bit softer. It's not like soft though. It doesn't have a tactile click. It's very thuddy. Let's see if this one clicks. Yeah, you see how that gives you a nice click? And it always depends. Every knife is different. This one's got a different kind of a click. This one, very clicky. Gonna be a little more so because that clip is tappy right now. Here's that Stout V2. Not too clicky. This one's very quiet. So just something to note. Now your knife is going to be different. If you get one of these, yours might be super loud, clicky, acoustic, and maybe it'll be like mine. Maybe it'll be in the middle. It just always varies. That's something that I don't think anybody has figured out. Acoustics on knives, what changes it and stuff like that, how to make it perfect. But anyway, Some companies will like incorporate a tuning fork almost into their backspacer, which is pretty wild. But I digress. We got these cool milling lines on here. I like that. I've always liked his styling. I've always liked his design language. You know, from the first time I really saw him. My favorite design from Gavko is the nurse. I had a custom Gavko nurse. There's a whole story that goes with that. And yeah, I'm just not even going to get into it. We are just going to review this bad boy for what it is. Nice M390 blade on there. You have a machine satin. Would love to see a belt satin. Yeah, I was thinking maybe they did a belt satin on here, but we asked for that and they did not do it. Originally, this was a prototype they made for us. Vosteed's, you know, sort of shop they use grand knife. And then we decided to license it to Vosteed instead, just so we could get it out quicker to you guys. So this is actually going to be a Vosteed knife, and it'll be our design. They are making some changes. It sounds like it's actually going to be either right-handed or left-handed, because something about the way the handle goes, because it's contoured or whatever, they couldn't do a reversible clip. I don't know, it didn't make sense to me, but they were like, we're going to make lefties and righties, and I was like, fine. I didn't question it. But anyway, we had to move the button up because, shout out to JD for EDC, he thought that would be better ergonomically when you're fidgeting with the knife or whatever. You can, you know, kind of come up here, and it's kind of more traditional, like a button lock, where a lot of the Vosteeds, the button is lower. And you can see this one is lower, but it seems higher up than their usual. So we're going to take a look at another one here. I have the PSYOP. If you hear a bunch of... Oh, wow, pulled it off. Nothing fell. So here's the PSYOP. I actually just got this back from Pass Around, and it is sold now. But I still have it here, and you'll see that the button is much further down. So it's almost like these go in some kind of order. You have, try to line up the pivots, I guess would be the way to do this. So if I line up the pivots, by the way, the PSYOP is fantastic. So there you go. You can see this one's very low. This one's higher up, and then this one's even higher up. So maybe they took a little bit of something from this. Maybe they liked it and they started moving them up. I don't know. Maybe that's just the way Gavko wanted it, or because of the slim handle, it kind of dictated that. It also does not have any flipper tabs, so that could be part of it too. Maybe when you have flipper tabs, you need to worry about that. But you can see where the stop pin is, right? That stop pin is up higher now on this one, so it can accommodate that higher button, which I think is a good thing. And then you'll see here that stop pin is even higher. So what ultimately does that change? This is a compression style lock with a button. Ultimately, it will technically lower the strength of the lock. So this one would be the weakest, this one would be in the middle, and then this would be the strongest. But it's a super strong lock to begin with, so it's not like this is going to be failing or anything, right? That's not going to be a problem. But if you're looking at overall strength, this one's probably going to be the strongest lock, and then this would be second, and that would be third. But that's the one thing that happens when you move that button up, is it technically, you know, lowers the strength of the lock. Again, it's still strong as shit. It's just not as strong as that one. But you get the benefits of having that nice, easy location for the button there. Especially if you're right-handed, right? Your button is just in a more natural position, I feel like. When you have these lower buttons, you kind of have to like almost come off the knife to get down here to push it. You can't just, like, it's harder to just slide over and then you gotta like try to disengage it, right? Where if you have it higher up, you can just push that button. Let's see how this one is, right-handed. See, I kind of had to adjust. Let me get a better grip. Yeah, see? Just a little easier to get to. Is it like a big deal? No, of course not. But I just like to nerd out a little bit. So let me show you a comparison to the PSYOP. More of you guys might be familiar with that knife since the nip has not released. And there you go. So I think I'm pretty close on that size. It's probably going to be 3 and maybe 3.3. So we are at 3.3 basically exactly. You have a 3-inch cutting edge. So 3.3 and 4.25. So you're looking at 7.5, 7.6, something like that overall on the Leopard. Let me put this one away. I know some of you guys didn't care about that whole lock rant, but to some people it was very important how the button location was. So I think a lot of people are going to like the way this Leopard is set up, to be honest. Very cool. I am not the biggest fan of this pivot. Personally, I just don't love when people use this style of pivot. Basically, it's kind of mimicking a tie connector pivot. Tie Connector is a company that sells knife parts, and most, I would say, custom knife makers use them to buy pivots and hardware, because if you're a custom knife maker, like say Gavko, you're making these at home or whatever in your shop, you don't have you don't have a Swiss lathe where you can turn out screws, which you need obviously to build a knife. So they're gonna buy things like pivots, body screws, stop pins, right? They're gonna barrel spacers, that kind of stuff. And then they'll install it on the knife, and so they'll use the tie connector specs, and they'll kind of build everything to make it work with that stuff. So it's kind of mimicking that. I just don't love the star shape for whatever reason. But thumb flick is great on this. They have the hole a little bit larger up top so you can really get under there. And the way the handle is designed, I'm not really ramming into it when I flick it. It seems well thought out. Like this is all chamfered, and it's chamfered up to here. So there's no like sharp corner that you're ramming your finger into when you flick the knife. That's always nice to see. Dead nuts centered right there. You can see that. I probably would have liked to see a backspacer here versus just a standoff, but most likely it was done that way because the handle's so thin. You don't want a backspacer in there that blade could contact. It would become, a whole engineering mess trying to deal with that probably. Very nice. I'm not the biggest fan in general with knives that get thinner as they go down. Think Microtech SOCOM Elite or whatever. It just seems counterintuitive to me because this is so stupid, but like you can kind of it just comes right out of your hand. Where if you have something, say, where it's either the same or maybe it gets a little wider at the bottom, it feels like you can hold your grip a little bit better. And I would assume if that applies to somebody yanking it, it would apply to cutting as well. If it gets caught in something, I know that's kind of stupid. It's just something I've always had a feeling about. But this actually feels really good. The ergonomics feel good. There's some nice jimping right here. That feels good. You have a sort of half choil. I guess it is a choil. It's not huge, but it should fit most hands or fingers. Like this is a choil, you're going to get a full finger in there and be able to, even if you have a fat finger or something like that. But if you hold it the right way, where you kind of just pull back on this area, right? So I'm kind of locking down on that area. Think, just kind of lock down and pull your finger back this way. You're not trying to hold it like this, right? Straight down. You're trying to pull back. It's actually pretty comfortable, and then you have that jimping to kind of lock you in. Sheep's foot blade. That's one of the things that always drew me to Gavko was he does a lot of sheep's foot blades, and I am a sheep's foot whore, so makes perfect sense, right? The weight is actually pretty good. I was a little concerned because of the liners. There's actually liners on both sides, it looks like. I guess they had to do that. I don't know why they would have to do that. Maybe they thought it makes it easier. They don't need to, I don't know. They could have used a washer on that side. The button doesn't force you to use a liner. I'm not sure if I'm missing something. Like some knives, like axis locks or whatever, you need a liner on both sides. But with this, you really didn't need a liner on that show side. They could have just went with titanium and then put a washer on this side. And that would have lightened it up a little bit, but it's not like heavy anyway. That liner's all milled out. And because it's such a short knife this way, slim knife, it doesn't feel heavy. It feels good, actually. Feels good. Looks like it's a little bit on the thicker side, but it's something weird with these Vosteeds. Even when they're thicker, they still feel really comfortable. Yeah, see, it's about the same as the Nip L, which I was surprised. When I handled this before I ever measured it, I thought it was like 0.48, like pretty standard for us. Like this tall boy is going to be right around that 0.48 range, 0.47, right? And so I thought this was about the same, even though it's actually a bit thicker, because it just feels super comfortable in the hand. It doesn't feel thick at all. Where some knives, you know that they're beefy. And this is the same way. Yeah, it says 0.4 or 0.54 or 0.55, but it feels like a much slimmer knife. And honestly, when you have a knife that's short this way, slim this way, it actually is nice when you have a little bit of girth here because then you just get a more substantial grip. This knife feels fantastic. They did a great job on this. I think the Leopard is a pretty common, I don't know what you would say, popular design from Gavko. I guess it's one of his larger ones. Like the Nurse is a shorter knife. It's like a maybe sub 3-inch blade, 2.75 maybe. I don't know. This is a little bit over. And so it's probably going to be super popular with people because the size is basically what I consider the perfect size, 3.3 inch on the blade. So absolutely great job all around on this. They are available now, so I don't know if I was just late to the party or, it came in the other day. I'm kind of speeding this one up because it's now available. Titanium, obviously. You do have an internally mounted clip, which is cool. Looks like it's held in by 2 screws, which is always nice, so you don't have any movement there. I'll see how it feels. It looks like it's pretty good. Nice and flexible. It's not reversible. Yep. Real easy in and out of the single seam. Real easy in and out of the double seam pocket. So the clip is fantastic. You want to see it if she cuts? Guess we could do that. Let me grab a box and some paper. Alright. Sorry. Here's some paper, and then this box has like a label all over it, so I'm just trying to be careful here. Oh, yeah. Don't worry, I'll show you guys in a second. Alright. There's some cardboard and some paper. Vosteed usually has a good edge on them, but yeah, you can see. And that sheepsfoot blade, man. Oh, that is nice, dude. Woo. Look at that. Very, very nice on the paper. Let me get all this up. Where's that box? There we go. All right, and then on the cardboard, now this isn't thick, this is single wall, but it feels really good. Get a good grip. That jimping is not super aggressive, yet it's very textured. Hard to explain. It's basically perfect because sometimes jimping is like too sharp and great. It's aggressive, but then you're cutting and it almost like hurts. Where this is not like, it's not smooth. It's got that roughness to it that holds you in, but it's not sharp either. I guess it's wide enough. It's like the perfect spacing or something. It's very well done. You can see it is cutting very easily. Very nice. Excellent. So she cuts and she fidgets. The bearings feel great. Take a look and see what size bearings they are. If I can gauge it, we'll see. Probably gonna be, they've been using a lot of 6mm on these, but this looks a little bit smaller. I think these are 5mm. I think these are just standard 5mm 1/16 bearings. It's possible that they're 3/64, but they look a little bit bigger than that. So I'm gonna go with 5mm 1/16, but I'm not positive. And I don't want to take it apart because I am gonna pass it around, and I usually just prefer to have it the way it is. Although it's just 2 screws, so hey, why not? Why don't we take a look inside? So T8 on that pivot screw. Oh, it came right out, so yeah, no Loctite or anything to worry about. There you go. Looks very much like a tie connector screw. That's funny. I'm sure that was just on his design because he's used to using tie connector, and then they just, you know, they just made that screw. It's a nice thing about having Swiss lathes and CNC machines at your beck and call. So liner comes off like that. You can see it's nicely milled on the show side. It's kind of stuck to that standoff. There we go. And yeah, these are 3/64 bearings, and let's see, it looks like a 6mm, not 5. So there you go, 3/64 on the bearings. And of course, you can pick up a test fit card from Skiff Workshop. You can also pick up Skiff bearings at skiffworkshop.com. Use my code LeftyEDC. That'll save you 10% on your order, which is nice, right? And then the pivot size is going to be 6mm, almost guaranteed, but we'll see. Come on, you can fit without that button getting in the way. I don't want to take it out, but I might have to. Oh, that's tight, dude. I'd rather not take it out, but I mean, I can tell it's a 6mm. It's not gonna fit into this 5mm size. You can see that, and it's gonna fit in here. So let me push that button down and see if I can get this to pop in. Come on, baby. There we go. It's in there. 6mm. So let's say you wanted to swap-a-rooney this guy. Come on, baby, come off. Say you wanted Skiff bearings. Hey, somebody let Skiff know the size, because you can get $5 off your next Skiff order. I'll give you a free $5. How about that? They have a bearing bounty program at Skiff. So get $5 for each knife compatibility match. So if you give them a new knife and tell them the size, right, and they can add it to their compatibility sheet, then you get $5 towards of store credit. So if you want to go ahead and tell Skiff that the Vosteed Gavko Leopard takes 6mm 3/64 bearings, you can go claim your $5. I'll let you have it. Let me see if I can find the size though, just to confirm. I stocked up on some stuff, so I just gotta, there we go. 6mm 3/64. I'm guessing some of you guys are gonna have to order these because it's not a size I've seen a ton around her. So you can see there, 6mm fits right on. And then we have those 3/64 bearings. And the cool thing is, now they have this frog lube shit in here. So actually, let's clean that up too. Yeah, it's like stuck in there now. The other cool thing is there's 17 balls in here. So each bearing has 17 balls. Look at this stock bearing. That is why I do not like 3/64 bearings from an OEM standpoint. Well, I guess it's not the biggest deal, but I would recommend replacing them if you can because of the ball count. The 1/16 bearings tend to be better. They tend to have more balls. You know, you'll have 10 and then your skiffs will have 12. Okay, right? But this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 balls in here and there's 17 in here. You're literally basically doubling your ball bearing count. There's 8 more than the stock bearing that has 9. That's insane to me. Like, that's a huge advantage adding skiffs, where with a 1/16 bearing, they usually do a better job. They get more in there. I don't know what it is about the smaller ones, why they leave such huge gaps between them, but they do. So, but that being said, the action was really good. So, with this lock, come on, baby. Jeez. With this lock, you tend to have better action anyway, because it's kind of like a button lock where the blade just kind of swings. It doesn't necessarily need to be as delicate, or whatever the word is I'm looking for. So we're gonna grab our KPL. Again, you can pick this stuff up at Skiff Workshop as well, or you can use my code LeftyEDC at KPL and get it there. I've been using KPL for years. Been meaning to test out some other stuff, but just haven't done it. If anybody knows another lube company, you want to have them reach out to me, I'd be down to check some out. But KPL is excellent. Keeps all that debris and shit in suspension, which is nice. So you don't have to add it so often. And I think the combination of skiffs and KPL is really a winning combination. But let me just clean that detent ball. Just being safe. Is there anything on the lock face? Okay. All right, then we're gonna add the blade. Not sure if I got this one already. Let me get a little more on there. All right. I like to do it that way so I'm not pouring a whole bunch of it like into the bearing pocket. I just find that to be nicer. All right, we got that on. Everything else is cool, right? We're gonna put our liner on. So it's gonna pop onto the standoff, and then it will pop onto the pivot. Looks like there's a little D shape on that. So you actually wanna probably line that up first. Actually, it's kind of weird because it was moving, right? Let me see if I can get that on first. It's hard to see the D shape on the standoff. Don't know why this is so awkward, but okay. So was it, oh, okay, yeah, see, I turned it. I turned that standoff when I took it off the pivot. I turned it, remember, to get it off. So now I have to turn it back and then line it up with the pivot. So now that's all lined up. Now I gotta figure out the pivot situation. That also has a D shape, but it looks like the D shape is in the other side, so it already went through the D shape. So that's nice. Now I need to get it on the stop pin. It's being a little weird about that. Ugh, there we go. Got it on. Well, it's definitely snug, that's for sure. And then lay our titanium on, and we are good to go. So I do want to clean this real quick. Looks like a gold accent. Maybe brass accent there. Looks like it's pretty clean already. I might glue it, just depending on it, but first I want to feel it. There we go. Okay. And, ooh. Okay, so centering still looks good. Detent, good. No lash or anything like that. Let me make sure it's tight. Got a little turn in there. Still good. Maybe I went a little tight now. Fires. Swings down. Got a little stick on the button. I tend to notice that whenever I swap to skiffs in these top liner locks, it just needs to break in a little bit. I don't know what the deal is with that. It's just because I cleaned it, and then, you know, maybe it's from the oil on the detent track that I put on there, but it goes away pretty quick. Yeah, it's already gone. So just flick it a few times, that'll go away. And I actually like a tiny bit of pop on a button lock or a top lock because it means it's nicely locked up. On a frame lock, I don't want that, but it works on this. Yeah, it feels great. Swinging down, and that's, you know, fully tightened down. We have no play, no rock, and it swings. I mean, I don't know what else you'd want. Let's take that out. Maybe I'll just throw in some, well, let's see. Tighten that down. Centered. Fires. Yeah. I was going to say I could glue it, but maybe I'll just Loctite it. Since I'll pass it around. Nah, I'll glue it faster. I would recommend Loctite for you guys, unless you're crazy like me. I like the glue because it's actually easy to break as long as you just use a little bit, and it cures instantly. So there's no waiting around for it to cure. So that is centered, fires, no play at all, no rock, swings. And these bearings aren't broken in at all, obviously, but look at that. Zoop. So, excellent knife from Vosteed and Gavko on the design. And I'd say the only real complaint I have on this knife, and it's really just this example, is the acoustics on the close. Just having that super soft kind of thud. Is it a huge deal? Nope. It doesn't sound like shit. I'd rather it sound like that, like have almost no sound, versus having that like ringy, not ringy, kind of vibrating sound, that thuddy vibrating sound I hate. I'm weird about that, but I'd rather it be like this than that. So very well done. I would definitely recommend this. Looks like they're $250 on Vosteed's website. I'll put a link down below for you guys if you want to use that. It does help the channel. I would appreciate it. But it is up to you, of course. And they have a few versions. It looked like most of them were in stock. So definitely check it out. And let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I would love to hear about it. And I'm going to get this in the pass around group, see what the other guys think of it. And I'm very impressed, very happy with it. They've done such a good job with these top liner lock models with really cool makers. In this case, you know, Tough Knives, Gavko, RS Knife Works. They've just done a lot of cool ones, and it's awesome. So great job, Vosteed. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I love you guys. Hope you have a great day, and I will catch you later.